Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 88th episode of the Retrotopia podcast. My name's Alan, your British chum from across the pond, or I suppose, if you're listening in England, from the same side of the pond. Whatever, shut up. And that being said, if you are listening from England, hang in there. I don't know if you're as sweaty as I am right now, but Jesus Christ, we are going through it. And I don't want to hear it from any of you other transatlantic cousins. A British heatwave just hits different. Trust me on this one. We are talking about a little-known game to me anyway, because I only just heard about this game a couple of weeks ago. We are talking about the Nintendo Entertainment System classic Crystalis or Crystalis. Choose whatever pronunciation suits you best. Yes, I've never heard of this game before because we never received this game before over in the PAL region of gaming history. And I'm starting to wonder as I get deeper into this whole podcasting business, just what the fuck were we actually playing in England? Because this is yet another RPG that I have absolutely no experience about. And I don't know what the guys think about it, but I think it might be something of a hidden gem. Now, if you are anxious to get to the game chat, you can use your teleport spell to zoom ahead, quick travel, if you will, about 20 minutes or so down the road, and you'll get to the game chat. But I encourage you to stick around and listen to our intro because I'm going to field some questions and comments from our Patreons. We've got the Gentleman's Interlude and all other fun stuff to do. So stick around and have some fun with us. Now, socials, we have them. You want to look at them. You can find all of our social medias at linktree, linktr.ee/retrotopia. Come find your social media poison of choice and like, share, spread the word of Retrotopia to all of your friends. You can also find our Discord, which we are incredibly proud of because you can come along and talk to some like-minded individuals in a wonderfully non-toxic area of the internet and chat games, movies, Pokemon cards. For some reason, that's very hot in our Discord right now. All sorts. So come and join the fun. You can also find links to our TeePublic or Dashery page. I'm still a little bit confused about which is which or what the difference is, but you can toddle on over there and find all of Brian's absolutely fantastic t-shirt designs. That being said, you can have them put on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, canvases, all sorts of really cool stuff over there. So go and check it out. And you can also find our no, I did that one. You can also find our Patreon. I know what I'm doing. For free, for the low, low price of free, you can join our Patreon. You can listen to all of our extra shows like Retro Bites, which you can listen to 15 whole days early with an extra topic tacked on as well at the end there for you lovely people. You can listen to our quick play series where either Sam, Brian, or myself will pick a short game, something not quite meaty enough for a full episode of the show, and we'll review it. Just a little quick mini-sode, just to help you get through your fortnight there. You can comment on shows, you can vote in polls, all of that good stuff. And we also have the hero tier, which for $2 you get all of the above. You get to actually pick one of the quick play games that a host of your choice. A host of your choice. One of these days, I'm going to get through that without saying host of your choice. Today is not that day. So a host of your choice will review a game that you pick for them. You get a shout out on the show. And you also get to listen to our brand new show, New Game Plus, which is Basically, in so much as we've figured out so far, a modern gaming review show that we're kind of playing a bit fast and loose with the release schedule with, at least at the moment. And it's just whenever one of us plays something relatively recent and we fancy talking about it, we will do so for you Hero Tier Patreons. Our inaugural episode featured our beloved Sam, and he was talking about RoboCop Rogue City. And I tell you what, for a brand new show, fuck me, Sam knocked it out of the park. Absolutely crushed that episode, so I encourage you to go and check it out. And of course, to all of our Patreons of any level, you get to comment on the show to the host who is doing the intro, which today is me, in our little section we like to call the 9-bit banter box, because it is the most culturally elegant thing you'll hear all week. All right then, let's see what some of you lovely people have to say this week. And asking the important questions, the vital questions right off the bat is Wildcard, who says, Alan, you're making a sandwich. Money and resources aren't an issue. What are you slapping together? I'm not necessarily a man of expensive tastes, but I am a man who enjoys a good sandwich, and I thought about this, and it is going to be my favourite sandwich, which is basically a plethora of Italian meats and cheeses. So I'm going to load up, and you know what, I was thinking either ciabatta bread or focaccia bread. Focaccia bread. Oh, some nice rosemary and sea salt focaccia bread. Split down the middle with some Italian mayonnaise and then some mortadella, prosciutto, and salami. Ooh, a little bit of mozzarella cheese and some rocket and some pepper and oh god. I'm going to call this episode early and go and make myself that sandwich, because that sounds absolutely delicious. Yeah, a simple man, simple tastes, but I love my Italian sandwiches. So thanks Wildcard for making me hungry, you bastard. Blue Yoshi 94 says, I know you like Lego, so my question is, what are your top 5 fictional characters you would like to be turned into brickheads? I do like Lego. I've got, what have I got? I've got Sonic of course I've got Sonic the Hedgehog upstairs as a brickhead. I haven't got much Lego. I'd like to have more, but the problem is I think if I start up another collection of anything, it's going to take over the entire house. So I have to limit myself to gaming. That said, and full disclosure, I don't know exactly what brickheads do exist at the moment. So, you know, if I say anything that may already be in existence, what are you going to do? But I'm going to go spooky with this one, because my first thought was I would love a brickhead pyramid head from Silent Hill 2. Because I think that would be absolutely adorable and a fine addition to the games room. Oh, I tell you what would make a really good brickhead, keeping with the horror theme. How about Pinhead from Hellraiser? Can you imagine that with all the little Lego pins coming out? And that'd be a fun little build, that. I think I'd quite enjoy that. I think a brickhead Clank from Ratchet and Clank would be really cute. Again, another fantastic addition to the games room. Who else? Fancy another villain. What am I up to? 3. I would say, oh, maybe not a villain so much, but I think a Grey Fox from Metal Gear Solid would make a really fun brickhead with that big old cyborg head of his. Is that 4? I think that's 4. So one more. What am I going to choose? I am going to go for... Ooh. Do you know what? I'll go for a brickhead Dalek, because I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, and again, I just think that would look rad. And again, if any of these already exist, I don't know. I haven't had time to go and look through all fucking 4,000 of these things that exist, but those are the ones that I would want personally. Thank you, Yoshi. Moving on, Big Brown Dog said, Alan, in a recent episode you mentioned, almost in passing, an old book series that I used to love reading but had completely forgotten about. That would be the Fighting Fantasy series of books. Oh yeah.
While most of my collection was lost to the winds of time, I was happy to discover after some digging around that I still have my Steve Jackson sorcery series, The Crown of Kings. If anything, I had to go to another page here. If anything, I now know what my plans are for this weekend. For the uninitiated, Fighting Fantasy was a series of books written by two authors, Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson. Each book would take you on a different dungeon-crawling adventure in search of treasure and fame. The books were written in the style of a choose-your-own-adventure, but also required you to build a D&D-like character sheet. There were frequent monster battles, and at times your only escape would be the lucky roll of the dice. Big Brown Dog, mate, yes, I love this. Because this is a book series, and you described it beautifully. Because we would always get these whenever I went around my nan's house. She would invariably take us to a boot fair, which is, as it sounds, people just selling shit out of their car boots. I don't know what you'd call them, like maybe a yard sale or something in America. I don't know. And we would almost always come back with one or two of these Fighting Fantasy books, and I built quite a collection of these things over the years. No idea what happened to them in the end. Probably chucked out by, parents cleaning things out as they do. But I loved these books so much. I was young at the time, so I never fucked with the character sheet or anything like that. I used to just like reading and turning to this page and turning to that page, and invariably ending up at one page that would just kill my character stone dead. So, pro tip, always keep your finger on that last page, because if you're a cheating bastard like myself, that's how you beat the game. Thank you, Big Brown Dog, for that wonderful dose of nostalgia. Where are we? Oh, I didn't finish your comment. I apologise. I'll finish your comment now. I want to thank you for tickling my nostalgia bone, even if only for a moment, and reminding me of one of my favourite memories from my childhood. I hope you have a really nice day. You and your magnificent beard deserve it. Thank you. Me and my beard, thank you very much. The Big Deal says, "Hi Alan, I was curious to know if you've ever heard of an indie title called Freedom Planet. It started out as a Sonic fan game before developing an identity of its own, but the DNA is absolutely there, and it's the best 2D Sonic game I've played aside from Mania. Wow. The gameplay, graphics and music are all top tier, and I would highly recommend checking it out." Well, Big Deal, I did actually look this game up when I saw your comment, and yes, a million times yes. This looks like something I definitely want to play as a diehard Sonic fan, as you all know. This tickled my Sonic nostalgia boner, and I'm going to put this on the wish list, and who knows, maybe I'll play it and review it. Maybe that will be another episode of whatever it is, New Game Plus, our new show. I don't remember. We've only just started it, and I've got the terrible memory at the best of times. Thank you, Big Deal. Mr. Hooley. Here we go. Okay, Alan, fuck, marry, kill. Peach, Daisy, and Zelda. Alternatively, Mario, Luigi, and Link. Well, I mean, a gentleman would never. But, okay, I'll play along. So, fuck, marry, kill. I'm going to marry Princess Peach, because then I'm the king of the Mushroom Kingdom, right? That seems a no-brainer. So that just leaves fuck and kill. Do you know what? I'm going to fuck Zelda, because I just want to stick it to the animated TV series Link. Take that, you whiny little bastard. Excuse me. Yeah, well, excuse me, you prick. And I guess that just leaves by default killing Daisy. I don't want to, but because I don't want to incur the wrath of Luigi, who I think those two are tight, but don't quote me on that. So sorry, Daisy. By default, I'm going to tell Luigi that like Bowser did it or something, though, because I don't want to bring that sort of heat on myself. And you know what? Since we're here, I am going to marry Mario, I guess. Why not? Because he's the guy. I'm going to kill Link, despite the fact that I'm a huge Legend of Zelda fan. But again, in my mind, it is that same little bastard from the animated series. So I'm going with that one. And that guy sucks. And Luigi. I'm going to fuck Luigi because I don't think I need to justify that. I'll leave that to your imagination.
And finally, from Game Genius, we have Good Day from Across the Pond. If you had to choose one superhero to be in a first-person, fully immersive virtual game, doesn't have to be traditional Marvel or DC, who would you choose and why? Also, what type of world and game would it be? Personally, I choose Gohan in the Dragon Ball universe as an open-world RPG, fight to gain more abilities and further your power level, etc. He wouldn't be a little bitch, but the badass he is truly meant to be. Yeah, they kind of dropped the ball with Gohan after the Cell Saga, didn't they? I mean, he has moments, but, you know, Super Saiyan 2, End of the Cell Saga, that's peak. That is peak. Do you know what? I was thinking, I know you said doesn't have to be a traditional superhero, but I was thinking something like Doctor Strange would be cool. You know, using your hands to cast magic spells and flying through different dimensions and nightmare dimensions and paradise dimensions and all sorts of shit like that. I think that would be really interesting. And it would just be that. It would be solving a multi-planar mystery. It's like a detective story. You have to find clues across the different realms in order to solve the mystery. This is literally off the top of my head. I have not planned this at all. Maybe I should have. Or alternatively, you know what? Just take something like Hulk Ultimate Destruction and just put yourself in first person, because I think that would be an incredible stress reliever. And I think we could all do with that from time to time. Just a Hulk smash simulator. Alright, thanks guys. I think that's everything. You'll have to forgive me because I've got this all on my phone and I suck at my job. So there we go. So, moving on, what have I been up to? Sweating, mostly. As I said off the top, we are in the middle of a heat wave, so it is a game of survival at this point. And I'm not doing it very well. I'm far too hairy for this heat. That said, I am playing a lot of video games at the moment. For instance, I am playing, I should know this, Far Cry 3 for an upcoming episode. I am playing Monster Hunter World because you know who you are. And what else? I'm about to start Resident Evil. I am playing Pokemon Violet on the Switch, just on my lunch break at work. I'm playing Dragon Power because, again, you know who you are. And, I just wanted to mention, it's not something that I'm playing, but I beat Batman on the NES recently, and I'm just putting that there as a bit of a flex, because, Jesus Christ, that game nearly killed me, and I'm wearing that as a badge of honor. Yeah, so suck it. God, that's a lot of talking. So, now that all that talking's done, I shall hand it over to me for a little bit more talking with the Gentleman's Interlude. Crystalis, a rather splendid gem from the era of the Nintendo Entertainment System. Indeed. Allow me to regale you with a proper British gentleman's account of this notable title. Crystalis is an action role-playing game developed by the esteemed Japanese studio SNK, who were quite renowned for their arcade prowess before venturing into home consoles. The game was originally released in Japan on April 13th, 1990 under the title Godslayer Haruka Tenku no Sonata. Shortly thereafter, it crossed the seas to North America, arriving in July of the same year as Crystalis for the NES. Regrettably, it never saw an official release in Europe at the time, which is a pity, considering its charm and sophistication. Set in a post-apocalyptic world, Crystalis invites players to assume the role of a young hero, awakening from cryogenic slumber. One finds oneself thrust into a beautifully rendered yet perilous land, where remnants of ancient technology intermingle with the ruins of a shattered civilization. The narrative is quite engrossing, revolving around the titular Crystalis swords, magical blades with the power to change the fate of the world. The protagonist's quest is to unite these weapons and thwart the nefarious ambitions of a tyrannical empire seeking to plunge the world into darkness. From a gameplay perspective, Crystalis is an exquisite blend of hack and slash combat and role-playing mechanics. Players engage in real-time battles, wielding swords and a delightful assortment of elemental magic spells. The game's top-down perspective and fluid controls offer a satisfying experience, quite advanced for the NES era. One must explore diverse environments, solve puzzles, and interact with non-playable characters to advance the tale. The soundtrack, composed by the talented composer Yoko Osaka, further elevates the experience with its melodic and atmospheric pieces, perfectly complementing the game's mood. A remarkable facet of Crystalis is its impressive technical presentation on the humble NES hardware. The visuals are colourful and detailed, while the world design encourages exploration and discovery, qualities that endear it to aficionados of classic RPGs even decades later. In sum, Crystalis shines as a beacon of SNK's ambition and artistry during the twilight years of the 8-bit era. It may not have achieved the widespread acclaim of some contemporaries, but to those fortunate enough to play it, it remains a treasured classic, offering a stirring adventure marked by mystery, magic, and heroism.
Okay. Jesus, that was a bit all over the place, wasn't it? Thanks, Alan, for that curious effort. Okay, now I realise we're running a little bit over time, but I can't help myself. So, before we get to the game chat, we'd love to hear what you guys think of this game. And a couple of write-ins. We've got Andrew Wright, who I think is very excited to listen to this episode. I played so much of this one as a kid. Crystalis is 1 part Dragon Warrior, 2 parts Legend of Zelda, and is a true hidden gem on the NES. I've never played Dragon Warrior. Again, I don't think we got that one over here. I might be wrong, but I have definitely played my fair share of Legend of Zelda, and I can definitely see the parallels, and no mistake. Thank you, Andrew Wright. And then Mr. Hooley brings us home with Crystalis Meth. It's a dangerous drug, kids. You are absolutely right, Mr. Hooley. Drugs are bad, okay? And on that note, we are going to delve into the futuristic, post-apocalyptic world of Crystalis. So gather up your swords, make sure you have a healthy supply of antidotes, and maybe use a guide, because this one gets a little fucking cryptic, as we discuss Crystalis, released for the NES on April 13th, 1990 in Japan, and July 1990 in North America. Thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy the show. And we are back, not 15 minutes later from when I just recorded that train wreck of an intro, and we are here to talk a little bit of Crystalis, or Crystalis, or however the fuck you pronounce it. I don't know, because I'd never heard of this game before. With me, as always, hiding somewhere in the bushes, somewhere on the map that you just have to stumble across to find him, is my good buddy Brian. And
Oi.
disguised as a random NPC, literally somewhere, in some building somewhere, is my other good buddy Sam. Guys, how's it going?
Oh my god, what an intro.
Well, we just described this game to a T.
Yeah, pretty much summed it up. All right, we can move on.
Yeah, next episode. Brian, start with you.
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm doing good. A little bit hot here. Like if you listen to the After Dark, which we were talking about, it's 36 degrees Celsius here, and let's just say my balls and my legs have not been separated since it started getting hot.
Funnily enough, my
No,
balls and your leg have not been separated since you got this off. That's a conversation for another day.
That absolutely is. But yeah, that's pretty much how I'm doing. I have to close my office door, and the windows are closed, and the air conditioning has hit its, I guess it's level for the time being, so there's no airflow in my office, and I'm just starting to melt.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's great. Sam, how are you?
Also hot. I was really pissed off at this game yesterday too, so I'm coming in with some heat.
Oh yeah, the end of the game is a little bit kind of a fuck you.
Yeah, I didn't have enough time to gain perspective between finishing it last night and today.
Do you know what, though? I know what's going to fucking happen, Sam, because it happens. I don't know where you're going to land on this game.
Oh, it's not happening this time, buddy. It is not happening this time. This is not getting an 8.
All right. Well, I suppose, as always, we should discuss our history with this game, and mine's going to be really short because I have none. We did not get this game over here. It's one of hundreds of games that were not available in the PAL region. And up until, I guess, Brian mentioned it, I don't think I'd even really heard it. I might have seen the name. That's about it. Knew nothing going in. That's my history. Brian, you brought this to the table, I think. Why?
Because somebody in our Discord, who is a good buddy of mine, he mentioned this game a long time ago when we started the podcast as a suggested game, and I noticed it was on NSO, and I figured, why not? Because we needed a game that was a little bit shorter, and we haven't played a Nintendo game in a long time, so my history with the game is the same as yours. I never heard about this game when I was young. This person brought it to my attention. I played the game. I actually, unlike Sam, enjoyed a lot of the game. There is some pretty honky-tonk bullshit stuff that happens in it, but overall, it was a good game. So I started playing it a little bit. Then I brought it to your guys' attention, and like always, you eclipsed me and beat the game before I did, Alan. And
what can I say?
Yeah, that's my history.
I just do what I do when I do what I do. Sam, same story?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, when it dropped on NSO, I remember seeing it, and I mean, the box art is awesome. So I was like, whoa, what's this? Yeah, I've always been intrigued by it since it dropped on NSO, and I hadn't heard of it before. So I don't know. I didn't hate it all the way through. So I'll have to pump the brakes a little bit. I came in hot, and eventually I'll give this game an 8 as I talk my way.
I was going to say it's starting already. It's starting already.
No. I did enjoy parts of this game, so we'll give the game its flowers for the parts that I liked.
Watch the anger just gradually melt away.
Oh, it'll come back. There's going to be some heat in this one, but I can see where if you grew up with this game or you were familiar with it from your childhood or just in general, I could see it having a soft spot for this one. I mean, we liked Phantasy Star, and that by all accounts is a hot mess.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean,
that is the very definition of that GIF. It's just yes. You're out of line. You're out of line, but you're right.
Right, like Phantasy Star, and like we famously liked Phantasy Star, but like I know we both don't like Breath of Fire, which is like, I mean, they're very similar. So,
yeah.
Just depends on when you play it, and I guess what your mindset is. But yeah, no history besides just playing it this week.
You're right about that. Like, I don't know. I was on another podcast about Breath of Fire, and I tried to defend the game for what it was, a very early RPG, but it's definitely a game I think is hot ass. And Phantasy Star, like you said, by all right, is just a game that is terrible, but it's old enough that you can forgive its quirks because they're trying something new.
Right. Play it with a guide.
And this game this game falls under that category. They weren't breaking the mold. Like, it's a very Zelda-like game, but it was definitely trying something new, and it was on a system not known for these bigger adventures. And even though this is only like a 6-hour game, this is what they could stuff on the cartridge. It did what it did well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And you know what? That's actually a pretty good place to start, because you described this as a Zelda-like, and that's undeniably spot on. I mean, it has a lot of Zelda in its DNA. I mean, for those who don't know, Crystalis, how do you guys say it? Crystalis?
What's the
Crystalis.
consensus?
Crystalis.
You know what? I think
Crystalis.
I'm gonna go with Crystalis because you start out in a kind of a chrysalis, right? You're in that like glass pod. I think it's a double entendre. I think it's supposed to be both. I think it's supposed
My dyslexia originally thought it was called Christ Tales.
That's a different game altogether, Brian.
Yeah.
a Bible
but yeah, so
adventure.
this this is very much I guess a sort of action RPG in very similar vein to your 8-bit and even 16-bit, I guess, Zelda games, with a much heavier emphasis on the leveling up and the sort of item management, I guess, that you get with your standard RPG. So it's a little bit of a blend of, I guess, Zelda and your Final Fantasies and stuff like that. Because you only play as the one character, who, as Sam rightly pointed out, you wake up in a sort of, I don't know, cryogenic stasis, I suppose. I mean,
Do you want that whole plot summary? I wrote it down just for anticipation for this moment.
Well, I was going to hand over to you, Brian, but you had to just go on in and jump the gun. Because to be fair, if I may, to be fair, I got the initial premise of the game, and then the story lost me at the end. So I'm going to hand over to the story guy of Retrotopia. Brian, take it away.
It definitely picks up bits at the end and sprints to the end with them.
Sure.
Yeah, there's nothing in the middle of this game, but it starts out. It takes place 100 years after a global thermonuclear war. So, next week. Civilization has reverted to a medieval state because that's what's going to happen after, we destroy the planet. We're all going to be back to sticks and swords and arrows and stuff. Animals were mutated, they roamed the land, science and technology were all but abandoned, and magic somehow has survived, even though that's not really a thing, and is now widely used. The survivors built a floating tower to prevent these future catastrophes, and the tower holds a couple of powerful weapons, and people who control said tower control the world. So, Emperor Dragon revives this forbidden science. Reminds me of Farnsworth. He combines the science and magic, and then he commands the world's last military force, where he seeks to conquer the planet by entering said tower. The protagonist, who is you, is a young man who was cryogenically frozen since the war. You awaken 100 years later with absolutely no memory, including your name, and you're guided by 4 wise sages. You learn of the world's new turmoil, which has been caused by the Dragonian Empire. And your mission is to, after receiving the Sword of Wind, find your friend Messia, who is another war-era survivor. And then you have to unite the 4 elemental swords, wind, fire, water, and thunder, and then combine them into the legendary sword, Crystalis. Oh. Then you stop Dragon and, stop the tower from reactivating, thereby preventing science.
Preventing science.
Jeez, this sounds like... Is this like a chapter in the Book of Mormon, or what is going on?
Yeah, pretty much. But that's pretty much it. Like, the Game Boy game says this all happened in October 1997. The Nintendo game says 1990X. So this has already happened. We're in the downfall of science, and
yes,
we've already had a thermonuclear war. Yeah, wink. But yeah, so it is a very simplistic plot. You don't really need to know anything outside of what the game booklet tells you. And they don't really open the plot up much throughout the game, but like Sam says, they kind of shovel everything they need to tell you at the end.
Mm. Yeah,
I was surprised how much just even plot and item... I guess you could do things a little bit out of order. I used a guide, and you should use a guide if you plan to play this. But... it seems like they just shotgunned a bunch of stuff at the end, both plot and items that you needed to finish the game were just all right at the end.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, like, it does kind of... they've given themselves a bit of an out there, because the main character having amnesia, which is such a plot device, but, back then, I guess amnesia was still kind of a... oh, this is a new story beat. Let's use amnesia, but it does.
No, it was in every sitcom since like the 60s.
I guess, but it does give you a convenient out. Go on.
The I thought of the Futurama when they're watching all my circuits. They're like, oh no, I have amnesia.
Oh, I fucking love Futurama.
Oh my god. All right,
But
go ahead. I'm sorry.
it does explain, it's a nice little convenient way of explaining why you name your character, because obviously he doesn't remember his own name. And
Did you name your character? Because mine was named nothing.
I named my character Alan, as I usually do, because I didn't think of anything.
Where did you name your character? I didn't notice that. Like, every save was just a blank name.
Well, Sam, you named your character, right?
I named my character my dude because I wanted
Yeah.
to do that for the next RPG or the next Zelda-like that I play because it's really fun and all the dialogue.
Yeah, because
You're
everyone's just
finally
like,
here, my dude.
exactly.
Yeah.
I have no idea. It's just something that happened at the start, I guess. You just enter your name. No idea.
Maybe I skipped it.
But it did feel like when I was playing this game, it did feel like playing a game having amnesia, because I had no fucking idea what was going on, where I was going, or why I was going there. It just seemed like a series of events where I just talk to someone and they say, go over there. Alrighty, I'll go over there. And then you meet somebody else and they say, okay, well, now get this and go over there. And I'm just like, yeah, but why? What am I doing?
That Nintendo mechanic of walking into people and talking to them really pissed me
I
off
hate
when
it.
somebody was blocking a door or
Oh.
a pathway and you're like trying to get around them and you keep just nicking a pixel on them, and next thing you know you're in that same old conversation you've done 3 times because they won't get the fuck out of your way.
And like there's always one random NPC that just says like, "Hey, go away." It's like, "No, you fucking go
Yeah.
away. You walked into me, you dick."
It's just like you will have the same line of dialogue 4 or 5 times, just literally just trying to get out of this person's way. And whoever thought that was a good idea, go fuck yourself, because that is a very early gripe that I had with the game. And I do like this game, but there are quirks that are indicative of the time. But there are also certain things which are just like, come on, you play tested this game, you know that's bullshit.
Wasn't
Well,
was it Dragon Quest? Wasn't Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior kind of like that too? I mean, we might have to give.
I
it a
thought you
break.
had to.
The-
I thought Dragon Warrior you had to open up a menu and choose talk or choose
God.
search or choose.
That
Yeah,
is worse. I hate
Yeah.
that worse. That's the
Like
worst.
it was. Final Fantasy seemed to have perfected the mechanic where you walk up to somebody and hit the A button and you enter a dialogue.
Yeah. Which,
Everybody else tried to complicate the system or uncomplicate it, and it just made it annoying.
it's just like, you're not going to swing your sword at an NPC. Just give me that option to talk to them. Come on.
Well, there's a couple I would have if I had the opportunity.
Well, yeah, that's fair, and we'll get there. We'll get there. I mean, story-wise, like you say, not much going on, but I think it is perhaps a little bit more than some. It certainly felt like more going on than the first Final Fantasy game.
I can't really compare the two in my mind right now. I can't really remember the full story of Final Fantasy, but you're right. There was kind of a lot going on. I guess you could break the game down into the 4 different swords, and every section kind of had their own little plot going on. So yeah, it does have a little bit more than just the overarching plot.
Yeah, and they sort of did a reasonable job with the world building as well. It's just like, okay, like you said, all that post-apocalyptic world, everything's just basically reset. It's just like, okay, I understand this place. I know what to expect here. It wasn't much, but it's enough for me to just like, okay, I get what this world is all about, and I'm interested.
Yeah, I did appreciate that you couldn't progress accidentally. You had to find like the key to move forward. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck there until you did. But at the same time, sometimes we mentioned this, I can't remember if it was in the After Dark or at the beginning of the episode, but some of the things you have to find by accident. And that was kind of annoying. There's no hint as to where they are. It's like, I lost a statue in some grass somewhere.
And they don't
And
even
then you
tell
go
you
into
that.
the
They
field
just say
there.
it's by the river, and the river is fucking huge. It's like the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
field.
Yeah, there's so much river in that fucking area, and it's just like, okay.
And the place where
but-
the place where the statue is like across it's like on its own little island where you wouldn't really think to go.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell?
But it's also like a story gate because it blocks you from progressing if you don't find this randomly located statue. Well, it's not randomly located, but the statue that's no indication of where it is, because the guy you give the statue to gives you a gas mask so he can go into the swamp.
Yeah,
Right.
which you cannot progress without. And that statue is in a completely unremarkable location. There is nothing to make it distinct from anywhere else on the map.
I found it
Yeah,
on
and a
accident.
hint would have been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, it's close to the bridge.
Right.
It's something like that.
yeah, where were you at least? It's like you just walk into them and you just keep saying the same
Yeah.
thing.
I don't know. I was doing laps up and down the field there. I walked everywhere, and then without even noticing, I dropped a statue somewhere between coordinates 00 and coordinates 1000.
Nope, it was
Fucking
just by the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, just by the river. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
there is.
please. Oh, yeah. And I'm not going to go out and look for my own fucking statue. I'm going to stand here until some guy with a sword shows up from a mythical legend, and I'm going to ask him to find it for me.
Just retrace your fucking steps, guy. Come on.
If I'm going to
But-
put a slightly positive spin on that, and I'm going to look through the 1990 lens. If I'm a kid playing this in 1990, this is a good opportunity to grind levels without actually just sitting there and deciding I'm going to just grind levels. I guess if this is your game, and I think you can. I didn't use the in-game save feature, but I think you can only save when you're outside, kind of like a Final Fantasy. You can't save in dungeons unless you get a special item, which you don't find till later. But this is one of those games where like it's got so much, I guess, cryptic bullshit that you're just going to be playing this for a while and randomly kind of figure shit out along the way, I guess.
Sure. And it just
Well, I don't.
the game just earned another point from Sam.
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
Well, I don't disagree with
did
you,
not.
Sam. This randomly located thing was fun once, but to do it
Oh, they
like
did.
3 times throughout the game.
Yeah. The one by the time I got to the second or third one that they did, I was using a guide, so I knew kind of where to look. But that third one where you're on the dolphin, I'm just like, well, who would think to go back here and look for this whatever the hell this was? It was like a necklace or something. Like, okay,
Yeah.
go to hell.
And that's a big area to traverse
Yeah.
as well. It's just like
Yeah.
you are literally looking for a needle in a haystack at that point. And how
I think
anyone did this without a guide, I guess it's like one of those, like Castlevania Simon's Quest. It's like it's one of those very obvious Nintendo Power games, right?
Yeah, and the entire game was I don't know if it was the entire game, but most of it was outlined in a Nintendo Power back in the day. So that must have been how people are able to finish this game. I think my proudest thing about the game is I didn't start using the guide until after I passed the cave where you get the wind ball to shoot and open up the blockages.
Yeah.
After that, things started going off the rails, and next thing you know, I had a friggin' my phone beside me with a player's guide going through it step by step.
I don't think there's
Tell
any
you-
shame in that.
Dude, I tell you what, I use my wind ball to unblock my blockages too.
Nobody stand behind Sam for your own health and safety. It's not worth it.
Oh man! Shout out to this this Nintendo Power. Like, if you find the Nintendo Powers on the Internet Archive, the issue 14, July August 1990, has a brief Crystalis guide that's kind of cool to page through. It's way better than looking at the manual. The game manual for this game is garbage. It doesn't tell
Oh,
you
yeah?
anything.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
I
some
did
game
not
manuals
see
at
it.
the time would give you some hints and stuff like make sure you talk to these types of people, or if you're in this town, you might want to talk to this guy or whatever. This game
And no
manual
matter what
had
you
none of
try to
that.
do, those enemies that circle around you, you can't hit them, so don't try.
Oh God! Oh, we'll talk
Yeah.
about how this game plays. Believe you me. But those Nintendo Powers, they're all available online, right?
Yeah, you can go to the Internet Archive,
Yeah.
which Sam just mentioned.
Yeah,
Just
it's-
Google
It's cool.
Crystalis Nintendo Power, and you should be the first option that pops up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out just to see
Yeah,
what
I
it
think-
does actually tell you. That's pretty cool.
I think whenever we play an NES or Super Nintendo, even like the more obscure ones, I would definitely be interested in reading up on the Nintendo Power, because they're presented really cool too. Like the pages are beautiful. It's like
Well,
presented like
that
it's
was
in an old
Nintendo
book.
Power for you.
I know. I love Nintendo Power.
I've never read one.
Oh, another one that. Oh no, you got him over there though, right?
You know what? I don't recall ever seeing them over here. So
I think they were published and developed in America. I think they were a North American thing only.
Could be.
But I could be wrong, of course.
I'm going to look that up. You guys
Man,
go ahead and amuse yourselves.
We used to check. I mean, it's insane what they used to have at our libraries at school. But like I used to check out the Nintendo Powers, even though I didn't have a Nintendo console, and I would just look at the pages because there were usually like level layouts and just fun.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah, easy gift from my parents for every birthday was to renew my Nintendo Power subscription, and I kick myself that I got rid of those because I had them from issue 1 all the way through like when I left the house in 2000.
Jeez.
No, see,
That's crazy.
we did not get Nintendo Power over here. Yet another thing.
How did you have a childhood?
I don't know.
What did you do? Sit still and behave?
Just sit and play with your Probotector.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now you're getting it.
Yeah.
So we've established that not that we got this game over in the UK, but if we did, we'd have been fucked because none of us would have known how to play it because this game is full of that kind of obscure bullshit, like your items that you need to randomly stumble across, or characters that you need to paralyze, which you wouldn't necessarily think to do.
Yes.
Which
the paralyzing and the disguise spells were the worst for just being cryptic as hell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because with that disguise, there's 4 different options, and I'd be fucked if I knew exactly what character was what there.
Yeah, it's like, well, and even the guide would be like, turn into, what's it? Kensu is one of them that you have to turn into.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, turn into Kensu. I'm like, which one is fucking Kensu? Like, by process of elimination, I only got down to a coin flip because one was a woman, one was a soldier, and then there's like these 2 characters, and the only difference between their sprites is like one was bald, and the other than that, they looked exactly the same.
I mean, I suppose it's only 4 to choose from, and you're going to go through all of them and until you figure it out. So it's not the end of the world. And I do appreciate that with this game, and we could get into talking a little bit about the gameplay. That there are a lots of different equipment, lots of different spells and what have you in this game, and I thought that was a really nice amount of variation. Like the spells themselves, I think are really fucking cool in this game. What do you think?
Yeah, a nice combination of magic and the different levels of the swords. I don't know, Brian was gonna say no.
Yeah,
I wasn't gonna say no. I was just gonna say a lot of the time I avoided using magic as much as possible to keep my healing spell fully charged.
Yes.
Because it drains your magic way too fast.
Oh yeah, it's like a time lapse countdown or whatever, where it's just like.
Well, it exchanges magic points for hit points,
right.
So you hold the button down and it fills your bar up at the expense of your magic points, but it'll fill your bar up from I say 1 hit point to full, using all of your magic points. So if you wanted to use teleport to get the fuck out of there, you couldn't. If there wasn't the warp boots item, then it would be a lot worse. But unless I had to absolutely use another type of magic to do something, I really did avoid using other types of magic.
Oh no,
the warp boots did save me one time for sure.
I always made sure I had
I
always made sure I had a pair of warp boots with me whenever I left, because for that exact reason, because you run out of mana there. You're fucked in some of these dungeons just trying to get out again.
I mean, you can get pretty randomly fucked over no matter what. Like, you could go back to town, heal up, and go back out and make your way to like a cave or something that you need to go to. And on the way there, you can just get like absolutely annihilated by like a flying enemy or something. Yeah. It's like, oh my god.
Fuck. Oh, that happened to me one day. I was like, okay, I had to level up a little bit because I felt like I was a little bit behind. So I was like, I sit down, I crack a beer there, I'm ready to go. I'm looking at the TV. I walk out of the town, get fucking annihilated. Restart, walk out of the town. 2 enemies later, fucking annihilated.
Right.
It just happened over and over. And I put the controller down gently. I turned it off, finished my beer, and then said, I don't want to fucking play this game anymore.
It can be very unforgiving, and added
So
added
much when they have projectiles or they circle you. Ooh.
Yeah.
Added to that,
So-
the combat, which I'm gonna hand back over to Brian and just let you have your say, because we've all played these kind of sword swinging Zelda like RPGs, so they must be fairly intuitive. We must be good at this by now, surely, Brian.
Well, The Legend of Zelda does the same thing. The sword sticks out his pants like a penis poking somebody, and I don't know. I'm kind of at odds. So. You get a sword, you have 1 level of charge, you get this elemental ball, which gives you level 2 of the charge, and you get a bracelet, which gives you level 3. Level 3 uses your magic up. It's a great attack when you need to use it, great on some of the bosses, but it uses your magic. So if you don't have a bunch of magic rings, which costs a lot of money, and you continuously charge to level 3, you're just depleting your magic and therefore your health. Your recovery, basically. But when you move, you don't charge the sword, which is another problem. So you have to stand still to charge it to level 2, which is your best attack without using magic. So you're constantly stutter stepping so that you can charge and walk to hit the enemy that's coming towards you. Some enemies throw stuff, which means you have to get out of their way, which screws up your aim, and then you'll fire the projectile right by them and miss them completely because there's no area of damage. And the other one, like I said, the sword pokes out front, and for some reason, it misses.
Oh, yeah.
Like you go to attack an enemy, and it'll go over top of their sprite, but it'll count as a miss, but the enemy will hit you.
Like a bunch of times in a row. Like you can get kind of, not really stun locked, but just kind of, like, I don't even know what to call it. There have been times where, especially those spiders in the cave had like a weird hitbox.
Oh,
I think.
yeah, you were all about the one-eyed
Those
spiders.
fucking one-eyed spiders. You'd miss it with the sword, even though it looked like you hit it dead on, and then it would just kind of like sit on you and hit you like 3 times, and it makes this really annoying sound when you get hit. It's like rear, rear, rear.
I don't care.
And the knockback is pretty obnoxious too, because there's times when you get like knocked out of a room, if you're by stairs or something, it can knock you back. And it's just like, oh my god.
And which would respawn all the enemies you killed in the next room.
Right.
I don't know how I got to level 16 though, because there was one point I was literally just avoiding enemies.
Yeah.
You would get experience for finding new towns and stuff like that.
You did?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I didn't even it didn't register for me. Like I just didn't. I mean, it probably just pops up without notifying you or whatever. But I didn't know that.
Well, no, it notifies you, but it's just one of those things you gloss over. It's like, oh, hey, next level, and then you just carry on.
Oh, I didn't see that. But
that's
a good. That's actually a good idea. Like give a chunk of experience for getting to a certain point. You know what I mean? Instead of having to just grind. Because I found a spot to grind that I was telling Alan about the other day, where it's like once I got the water sword, which is kind of like a water ice type sword, and it does this like crazy attack that does like a pinwheel of frost damage and then like pulses in and out. Giggity. Yeah. But I would draw in these soldiers that were shooting arrows, but if you draw in like a pack of like 4 or 5 of them on the screen, I would just unleash the third wave of the water sword and it would kill all of them, and I'd end up with like 1,000 experience every time I did that.
Amazing. And
I know, it's like I feel like I broke the game.
And the thing is, you have to with this game. I mean, to say nothing of the combat, and yeah, I will agree that the hitboxes in this game are fucked in favor of the enemies, because there is no arc to the swing of your sword. You have to be literally on a plane with them, trading off blows, and you're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to get hit for every blow that you trade off. So, I mean, I like the technique that I just hit upon was to just spam that paralysis spell, and just everything I came across, I just paralyze them and then just go to town on them. And even then, if I got too close, I would take damage. So that was kind of a bitch. But
Oh, that was
you.
yeah.
Go on.
Those guys that swing the maces. That was
Oh,
bullshit.
yeah.
'Cause I
Oh,
used the
yeah.
paralysis spell on that, and then wherever the mace was, or it's a morning star, not a mace. Wherever the ball of the morning star was, it would just be there. But if you touched it, it would hit you. It's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? And they would do a ton of damage.
Absolutely. And you know what? Everything in this game fucking poisons you.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
That was fucking bullshit. And those flyers that would paralyze you when you needed to charge up your weapon. So paralysis in this game prevents you from charging your weapon, and you have to charge it to create ice bridges or destroy rock walls or whatever. And then there's these fucking little assholes that fly around the map and just they don't do a lot of damage, but if they touch you, they paralyze you, and then you can't charge your shit.
Oh, the other bad thing about this was certain enemies are immune to certain elemental swords. So it wouldn't be so bad if it was different dungeons, but you have to continuously swap your swords and the ball or bracelets in the dungeon in order to kill all the enemies, even some that are like back to back.
Yes.
And it's not a hot swap. You have to hit select, and you have to go to your options and select the sword and the appropriate charm in order to switch. And then, of course, some walls require a different sword. And like you said, the ice bridge, it gets kind of tedious.
Yeah,
I think would be the best way to
bit.
describe it. It's not something that's unplayable. It's just very, very tedious.
yeah.
I got
And,
pretty
you know,
good, pretty quick with like.
I was
switching it.
literally,
Yeah.
I was literally just about to say that by the end of the game, it was like second nature. It was just like pow, pow, pow,
Yeah.
pow, pow, and like back to it. But like in the early going, I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, really? It's just like every time like I got that ding off an enemy, I was just like, oh, come on. Just like, okay, well, I guess I'm avoiding you because I can't be bothered to change my sword.
To
But-
the
There
point where
was a nice thing when when you got to a certain level, enemies, like lower level enemies, couldn't hurt you
Sure.
as well. And then certain types of armors
that
would
was
protect
nice.
you from certain like projectile attacks.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a nice trade-off because you could just go back and just seek revenge. But
Oh yeah.
no,
the
sword swapping and the enemies are kind of unbalanced in this game.
The menu
Yeah.
got so ingrained that this morning I went back to. I've been playing Circle of the Moon, Castlevania, and I was at the final boss. I just like went back to it to finish it this morning, and I was getting into the menus to like switch my abilities or use potions or whatever, and the button presses that I was using were from Crystalis. I was like trying to.
God. I'm playing the Force Unleashed,
Yes.
and to save in Crystalis, you have to hit select and then start.
Yep.
And that's what I was doing to save in Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
I'd hit the select button and then I'd hit start. It worked.
It just
but
like wrecked
I would
us for our
always
next
start
few
with
games.
select. Yeah. Like,
But there you go.
Oh, God.
And listen, you both beat this game. I know you did. So it obviously the gripes that we may have had with it, we clearly overcame them. And
I overcame them with save states and a little bit of rewind because I was not about to waste my time on some of this end game bullshit.
it does get fairly preposterous, including some like late game. Like there's some stuff you need in that late game that you better hope that you stumbled across like a village of the Amazonians in order to find or shit like that. It's just like when you have to find those 3 bows to
Yeah, that was
take on that last. It's just like I had them, but I had to think like, what if you didn't? What happens then? Are you fucked? I have no
Yeah.
idea.
the only reason I found the Amazonian village is because I decided to go back to the beginning of the game and walk the path again to kind of grind and level up and get some money. And I stumbled upon the Amazonian village. Of course, they're all bitches and like, we don't talk to men. I'm like, I respect that girlfriend, and I walked out.
hold on, let me
um,
paralyze you. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
really felt icky about that. Because there's one you have to paralyze so that she doesn't walk in the way of the door, so you can go in and
Yeah.
steal something from them.
Then
or
you just
whatever.
walk by the 3 in the house and go into their basement. It's like, your guard out front's kind of tied up at the
Right,
moment.
and I like how if you talk to one of them, they kick you out. But if you just walk past them, they just let you walk by.
That's cool. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Like,
And by
did nobody
walking past them means don't touch them.
did nobody
right. Don't touch them
tran-
at all because you'll talk to them.
Did nobody disguise themselves as a woman then, or
I did eventually.
When the player's guide told me to.
Right. I didn't
Yeah,
at first.
Same with the flight there when you realize you can hop rivers using flight.
Yeah, that was really
Oh
handy.
yeah. Oh man, I didn't think of that.
Oh,
Shit.
but the funny thing is about speaking of Amazonia or Amazons or whatever that town is you could get through all of the game, I think, without even finding it or going there
Yeah.
or even knowing that it existed. I mean, the only clue that you would maybe have is looking at it in your manual, because I think the towns might be listed, or if you use the warp spell, you'd see like a blank there, and I guess like you'd know that maybe between, this town and this town, there's another one there. But
Yeah.
man,
That
I mean, you
warp
could really
spell-
miss it.
That warp spell was worth its weight in gold.
Oh yeah.
I loved it. 'Cause,
Oh,
like,
if it wasn't for that, this would be unplayable.
Oh god, yeah. Like the ability to warp your way out of any dungeon and go back. Like there were so many times that I would go in without antidotes, and you get that restore spell that gets rid of all status effects later on in the game.
That's a good one,
and
too.
mwah, that changed the game for me. But I would go into a dungeon with a mind to grind some levels and we'll talk about this, like you have to grind levels in this game or you cannot beat it. Like you need to max out your level or you do not beat this game. But I would go into like a dungeon or a cave or something, and then instantly some fucker would like either paralyze me or poison me, and I'd just be like, well, I guess I'm teleporting back to town to sleep at an inn and trying again. I just,
Right.
oh, for fuck's sake, like,
That's how I found the water sword. Is I kept going into that waterfall and I kept getting my ass kicked enough that I'd have to teleport back. And I think I gained 2 levels before I actually got to the water sword.
that
Yeah,
waterfall, that is exactly where I'm thinking of when I talk about that.
Yeah, and that
Yeah,
water
that
sword is
one was a
buried
little
in
bit
there
of-
pretty deep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you have to take a left and you have to dodge this guy, and then you have those dragons that you have to hurt with one of the two. Oh no, wait! I don't even think you can hurt him at first without the water sword.
Yeah, no, you're
You can
right.
use the
I think
wind.
you're right.
Oh no, I know what you're. Yes, there is
Yeah,
one.
the big.
Oh fuck that whole cave, because like you couldn't kill anything until you got the water sword, which is way in the back, and then on the guide it was like, by that time I was looking at the guide, it was like, oh, by the way, you can't hurt anything in this cave until you get the water sword, and it's way in the back.
Fuck you.
It's like, whoa, who
Yeah.
thought of this?
It was kind of, and then fuck. Then you had to go get that. I don't know, was it the ball or the bracelet? But you had to go down to the south of that field, and then there's that little field off to the left where the birds would circle you and like kill you before you could get to the north side of that second field.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I gave up on it. I was just like, you know what? These are obviously beyond my level. I'm going to say fuck it for now. And then it turned out I had to go there anyways. And you just kind of have to like power your way through. But yeah, oh god, that part pissed me off so much because those birds, they would circle you and they would circle in and hit you, then take off. And there was nothing you could do because all you had was a forward pointing sword, and it was too slow that they would pass by before the sword stuck them.
Right.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
that's
it was-
again that's why I was spamming paralyzed, because otherwise it's just like, I'm not gonna fuck around trying to like guess the angle that I need to hit you at. It's just like I'm just gonna
That would have been smart.
stop you in your tracks and then just go to town. But that was not even for me the worst part. So where we're talking about flying enemies, there was that one like underground cave. I guess it kind of looked like a sewer or something in the desert.
Yes,
And-
the Oasis cave. That's what was
Oh.
pissing me off yesterday.
Buddy, those two things that fly around and just shoot out them spores and paralyze you, it's just like
Yes.
that was the main rage-inducing area of the game for me, because it is a literal fucking maze in there, and those things
Yes.
just do not leave you alone.
And the shitty part is they drop spores as they're flying. They can also paralyze you if they touch you. And then if you kill them, they explode into spores. It's like, what
And-
the fuck am I supposed to do?
And then respawn.
Right.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
And there are three big items that are just hidden away in that absolute labyrinth.
Oh,
yeah.
The one I fucking hated was the chests that were
Yeah.
mimics.
Mm.
Yeah, and those poison you too, by the way.
Yeah, they poison you and then they do fucking hella damage
Yeah.
on you. Like 2 bites from that thing would kill you.
Insult to injury. It's like, oh, this is it's not a treasure chest. I'd rather the empty treasure chest. You know how I feel about empty treasure chests.
Yeah.
But I'd rather an empty treasure chest than this fucker. Like, by the way, you're almost dead, and also now you're poisoned. So like, if you
You're just gonna
encounter
kill
one of
me.
those,
You're
yes,
just gonna kill me.
and
Why poison me?
completely ruin like your like if you were there to grind or to like get a little further in exploration or something, just will completely wreck your day. You might as well teleport back.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh.
I don't know. Jeez. What else? What did you like about this game? Because I think we've been kind of ragging on like all the bullshit. Because there's a lot of bullshit.
You know what? I found this game actually fun.
Yeah.
As much as I complain about this shit, and much as I bitch about a lot of these stuff that let's call it boils down to skill issue. I did not hate the game when I was done. I sat down, I watched the ending, sat back, reflected on it. And it's like that was actually, for 1990, that was actually a pretty good game.
Oh, for sure. Like this, I was struck even in the early going with just like this is an NES game, and it is hella ambitious. And I don't say hella ever. It's maybe the first time. It is. It is so just like packed full of like ideas, and it's really kind of ahead of its time, I thought, while playing it. And it has its quirks and things like that, but yeah, no, Brian, I completely agree with you. Like, I did thoroughly enjoy playing this game. It was a great little adventure, and I tell you what, the speed at which you move around this game is ridiculous. Like, it's very smooth.
Yeah, surprisingly smooth.
You just fly. You just really just go in this game, and
Except when there's like multiple enemies on the screen all shooting shit,
yeah.
and it
Sure.
chugs.
Well, that's a Nintendo. You
Yeah, I
get
know.
too much stuff on the screen, and then you get stuttering and chunking.
I mean,
Although I
never-
do like that the Switch Online like maintains that. It's just like a straight port, so it still runs the way it would run on an NES. Like the
Yeah.
emulation captures how it would play. Even
I
like
kind of love that.
like what do you call that when you see a bit of just like extra pixels on the sides of the frame? You know how it kind of glitches on the sides of the frame? I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it.
Oh,
but
that's
yeah.
Oh, so fuck! Somebody explained that in a
there's a
YouTube video
word for
once
that,
in
yeah.
Mario.
Yeah, but I like that it's still
Essentially, it's loading more of the game. Sorry, less of the game than you can see because the screen is kind of shifted or some crap.
there.
It's the most simplistic thing in the world, but yeah, it's almost on every side-scrolling NES game.
A lot of charm to
And
that.
it has something to do with the how it draws the game as you move.
Right.
It does-
So there's
it
always
does
like
have
a
a
little
lot of
little
charm.
chunk of pixels on the side.
And
Yeah. Oh.
we can talk about just how fucking good this game looks.
Again, 1990 NES game. I think we're talking like the end of the Nintendo era, so ought to look good by this point. But it's definitely better than the Legend of Zelda. Like Legend of Zelda is obviously very early on in the Nintendo's life, but one of the better looking games on the Nintendo for sure.
I think so. I mean,
Did-
I was going to say, this may be second only to like Kirby's Adventure for me, at just how good this game looked.
Maybe. I don't think I've played Kirby's Adventure, so I'm not going to opinionate on that.
Great looking
Or one
game.
of the later Mega Mans on the like Mega Man
Yes,
3 or
sure.
4, 5.
Definitely.
Was it the first 6 on the NES? Yeah.
Yeah,
So like
first
some
6.
some of those later Mega Mans look pretty good too, if I remember correctly. But correct me if I'm wrong, or if you remember or have played it. But did Zelda 2 have leveling?
Yes.
I mean, that is an odd game,
Yeah.
but is this game kind of a combination of Zelda 1 and Zelda 2 with the top down and then the leveling and the dungeon exploring and stuff? Like, it kind of is a combination of the two in a way.
Definitely, it definitely leans that way. I mean, the only thing it's really missing is the sort of side-scrolling 2D stuff that you get in.
Oh, right. Yeah, we don't have that. I mean, I just meant like the leveling from Zelda 2 plus the the top-down exploration from Zelda 1.
That's not a.
I'd say it's more along the lines of like Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy meets Zelda, because you have the action adventure of Zelda, but you have the magic points, the magic, and
That's
the
true, yeah.
level system of a role playing game.
Here's another
Making it, of course, an action RPG.
Here's another analogy I'll throw at you. This is the. I think I said it in our chat, and you're like, save that. And I was like, I won't forget it. And I didn't, because here it comes. The analogy was, this is, if Zelda is Final Fantasy, then this is Zelda's Phantasy Star, right? Like that's kind of like the vibe I get from it. It's kind of futuristic a little bit, kind of a quirky story. There's like tech kind of hidden behind everything, but you're in kind of still a like sword and sorcery world meets technology.
Yeah, I could definitely see the parallels with something like Phantasy Star. And, I know Phantasy Star is a bit of a franchise. It's kind of dormant now, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas, obviously, Final Fantasy really took off in a big way. I'm just kind of wondering, what happened to this? Because, this has all of the... This is all of the meat to be a bit of a franchise. I'm kind of wondering why it never happened.
Well, I can tell you what happened to this is SNK went on to make fighting games, and that's what actually sold stuff. So this kind of fell on the wayside.
I gotcha. Oh, that's a shame because this is I do think this is a bit of a hidden gem. I like the. See, I would find myself just like really enjoying getting to a new area of this game and then just, spend every new area that I got to, I would just grind for an extra level or two, just to make sure that I was like ready for the next cave or dungeon or what have you. And I'd get into the swing of it, and I'd find myself just like really enjoying that process. And like I said, like as I mentioned, you have to grind, you have to level up because the bosses in this game cannot be beaten under a certain level, which is kind of a weird touch, I guess. Like you literally cannot touch them if you're under leveled. But yeah, that sort of gameplay loop of find a new area, see what enemies are available, and just figure out how to kill them, and then just repeat.
There's nothing more satisfying than when you level up and that dick that was throwing axes at you now takes 2 hits instead of 3.
Wow. And like I said, some of them, like, you cannot damage the final boss of this game unless you are fully leveled up. And it's like, it really gives you... there's that whole argument in RPGs about whether... you get these people who are just like, well, I'm going to go for a low-level run, and, that's the way to play the game. I mean, I am very much a person in an RPG that wants to level as high as possible and just dog-walk the entire game. I don't know, I just like feeling powerful for once. And I like that this game kind of rewarded that gameplay loop.
Just made me... think about that. I looked it up. The speedrun record for this is by an American named Overswarm at 52 minutes and 53 seconds, set 4 years ago.
Jeez, is that like legit or tool assisted or what?
This is from speedrun.com, and I don't see what the criteria was.
Okay. Wow. That's crazy.
That's insane.
Sorry. Any percent, no wild warp.
No what?
Any percent. Okay. Well, I mean, it's really hard to not... I don't know what 100%ing this game would entail, but it's kind of hard to not 100% it, right? Because you have to max level. You pretty much need all of the sword. You need all 4 swords. You need, most of the... I guess you could... Some of the items are probably, like some of the rings and stuff are probably optional, but... I mean, the warrior ring was great. Once I got that, I just equipped that and the thunder sword or the lightning sword or whatever, and just like shot lightning all the time.
That's the one.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one that you could literally just spam your level 2 without charging, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just sit there and it's like having a machine gun and you just fucking mow down enemies.
Oh, couple that with that medallion that had you like recharge your mana when you were standing still, and the psycho armor that recharged your health when you were standing still.
That was good too.
by the end of this game, I felt like a boss.
True, yeah. I mean, the only thing I did get impatient with was I had the necklace that recharged the mana points, and I had the armor that recharged the health, but it was so fucking slow that I still ended up. I had so much money that I just ended up buying a bunch of those, like mana rings or whatever, the magic rings, and just.
Yeah.
I think I had like 4 or 5 of them, and I would just be like,
yeah.
fuck this. I'm just going to recharge, and I don't have time to sit here.
Yeah, and the mana rings recharging your magic was a godsend at the end of the game.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they were. You could get them in treasure chests, which was great. But then that last town had them for sale, and if you had a ton of money left over, that was pretty nice.
Yeah, I would say between the magic ring and was it the opal statues or something like that? The things that if you equipped, like you would basically have an extra life. Like those were
That I
incredible.
didn't know about. I guess I
yeah.
should have. I didn't do what I always say to do, which was read the manual, because
Yeah.
there's no descriptions on any of the items. So it doesn't really tell you what it does. Even the like we discussed the transform where you transform into one of 4 characters doesn't even put their fucking name underneath. Like,
Yeah.
it's a sprite. It's like, I don't know who these guys are. These are very like innocuous looking. Like these all look the same.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like, well, your guess is as good as mine. I'm just going to and the thing that makes me laugh, and I know it's a video game. There's a certain amount of suspension of disbelief. It's just like I would just be like transforming through these characters, and you have to think the guy that I'm going to talk to is like, I can see you like transforming into these different people, dude.
Yeah, I know you've just done that.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm still gonna fall for it.
One area that really I think started, and we can maybe get into some of my gripes, which we already have. We've griped a lot, but I think there was one boss in particular that really, really pissed me off.
Me too. Let's hope it's the same one.
You have to. I think when you go through what is that place called? I don't have the guide open in front of me, but there's a cave or like I don't know what you'd call it. It starts out like a palace or whatever, but it's kind of a maze. You have to work through like 4 levels of kind of a boss rush.
Okay. Yeah.
That part just in general sucked. Like I had to back out of it at one point because I realized that I didn't have enough mana replenishing and or healing items to like see me through. So I backed out of it and ended up going back in and trying to, get through it as efficiently as possible without using any of my mana or items. But I think as the 3rd boss in was like a refight. You have to refight a lot of the bosses that you've already fought, but they're faster.
Yeah.
And this one shoots, I think he shoots fire. He turns into a ball maybe.
Yeah.
And bounces around the screen, which is fine, but it's fast. I mean, and he hits you, and he hits you for quite a bit. And you have to use, I think it's the fire sword, and charge it up to 2, and then shoot the balls of fire. And it actually it arcs a pretty good. Like if he's in the screen at all, you'll hit him if you're kind of just facing his general direction. So that was fine. And I read up that you have to probably hit him like 6 to 8 times. It's like, okay, that's fine. I can do that. And there were a couple of times when I died and I was like, I swear to God, I hit this fucker like 6 times, at least 6 to 8 times. And it turns out that when you hit him, they flash, right? Mm-hmm. If he sits, he'll park himself up in that upper left corner of the screen. And if he's up there, like kind of by the wall, he's invincible. Like you can't hit him from there. And that sucks. That absolutely sucks because it's geared so that when he pauses to shoot whatever his bullshit is at you, you should be able to unwind and unleash one of your attacks on him. And I relied on him being up there and squared up and shot him several times when he was in that position. And apparently it was doing nothing. That's bullshit.
Great. That is bullshit. I mean, that boss rush is exactly where I found out that those statues were again worth their fucking weight in gold because they're essentially a fairy in a bottle. And that's
I
the
didn't know that.
only
God damn it.
that is the only way I got through those fights. Like I just had to go gung ho and just hope like I had enough of these quote unquote extra lives to just strong arm my way through them, because fuck me, some of those bosses like that general, I told you about this, Brian. I mean, it wasn't even in this area, but that general Kelbesk, I think
Yeah.
he's everywhere the first time you fight him on the top of the mountain. He is literally everywhere. Like he's like shooting bits of ground at you and what have you and just dancing around. And if he corners you, you're fucked. And that guy was, oh boy, that was a sticking point for me earlier on. Like I lost my shit.
That was a shit fight. That was like one of your first big ones. I mean, you fight the swamp monster first, the giant insect,
Yeah.
but that one just stays at the top of the screen, and you just have to hit it straight on. It's like a game of Space Invaders.
Yeah, kind of.
But
I like that
general,
boss.
Jesus,
I
fuck,
did.
you couldn't dodge those rocks.
Yeah,
No.
Kelbesk or whatever his name is. He's a dick. And then they would shoot those they're like blue or yellow little like flame wheels or whatever, and if they hit you, they turn you into like a slime.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was pretty much a game over. Like even in the guide, it was like if he turns you into a blob, then you're done. And it's like, well, what the fuck? So there's basically a one-hit kill type of attack that's so frustrating because it doesn't just kill you, it turns you into a blob, and then you can't do anything. And there's no way to like untransform from a blob.
I'm surprised it doesn't fucking poison you as well, just for the sake of it.
Yeah, no kidding. Like poison, paralyze, and it's like it's like the Crystalis version of a Marlboro.
Oh my god.
Every single status condition at once, right away. Fuck you. Yeah, those
fuck
those
you,
boss
Sam,
fights
for making
fucking
me think
sucked.
of those.
Yeah, no, those are the worst. God, and then fuck, just I can't remember if there was another. Oh, the one of the final bosses, that dragon. So
Yep.
you have to use one of the bows on Kelbesk the last time you see him, and if you don't know to use that bow or think to use it, you'll just again piss in the wind. You'll just fight him until you run out of health and magic and die, because he's invincible unless you hit him with the bow and turn him into his true form.
Yep.
But once you do, it's like the whole scene drops away and it turns into just like a plain yellow backdrop, kind of like in a Castlevania game where like you fight Dracula's true form and like the castle itself melts away, like warps you into another dimension or whatever. But there's no texture to it. It's just flat yellow. And then I kept getting turned into a blob for some reason. I'm like, what the fuck is this thing doing? And it turns out that it was shooting one of those stupid little flame wheels at me, but it was yellow on yellow.
You couldn't see
I
it.
was like,
Yes.
you gotta be goddamn
Yes.
kidding me.
And at this point, I'm thinking, you know what? That's by design. You're doing this to spite me at this point. Like, go
Yeah,
fuck
like,
yourselves.
can you knock it off with this, like, oh, but still that last, like that, whatever it was called, that ball thing, it was like the third boss into that boss rush, was the hardest boss in the game for me. I spent more time on that one than anything else, because usually, like, for most of the game, if there was a boss fight, I was leveled up enough to where I could just kind of be a tank, take the hits, and just walk up to it and just mash the attack button until it died.
Yeah, but that guy was all over the screen at all times.
Fucker.
Absolutely
God.
ridiculous. Just like, oh, and at this point, you don't want to have to go through all of this again. And to the game's credit, when you're in areas like that, if you do die in sort of game over, it will like take you back to kind of the start of that room or area. But then you only have to like fight the previous boss again, and it's just like, okay, well, it could be worse, I guess. But
Yeah.
Jesus, like that tested all of my patience.
Right, yeah.
I don't know.
Did you know
I
there was
hated
a
all
Game
the
Boy?
bosses. That's all I'm adding
Yeah,
to that.
the boss fights. Did you know there was a Game Boy Color version of this game?
Yes, I did.
I've heard it's not great.
No, I'm actually, like, I was just kind of perusing because I was looking at the Wikipedia article to see like why they didn't make or whether or not there would have been any planned sequels or whatever. But yeah, I think this is the only other version aside from the SNK 40th anniversary collection, which actually looks kind of like a cool collection. But Yeah, I guess the lower resolution on the Game Boy Color screen made this even worse. Like this sounds like the worst way to play it.
I can't imagine
Yeah, because
playing
the
it on.
enemies would hit you off screen, and you couldn't see or hit them most of the time. And
Man,
I
Yeah.
feel like a Game
I
Boy
sure
Color
hate
version
that.
of this game would poison me in real life.
yeah, like I'm done. I don't want to play video games anymore ever.
I mean, what I will say, and I think we're getting pretty close to the end now.
Yeah,
Music fucks in this game.
yeah,
I really,
it's
I
pretty
know,
repetitive.
yeah,
Well-
I guess to an extent, but I appreciated that every area had a different theme, and I found the music to be just quite catchy and just really enjoyable. Like it never got on my nerves. It just, yeah, I think they did a great job, especially on the NES with the music for this.
I'll say
no, I agree.
I was grinding a bit of levels on Saturday morning before I had to do some stuff, and it was like I was tired. It was kind of early in the morning, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit and play some of this so I can get it done. And I forgot that I don't know. I don't know. I didn't mute it and put on like a podcast or anything, which is what I was planning on doing, but I completely forgot. And then the rest of the day, I had like whatever loop, like music loop, was just like stuck in my head for the rest of the day.
It's literally just started up in my head. I can hear it now.
Yeah, it's like
No.
whatever. I don't know. I can't even. I'm not even gonna. It's gonna be back, and
I
then it's
didn't-
not gonna leave.
Yeah, I didn't hate this music. This, like Alan said, it didn't stick with me. And there's been Nintendo games looking at you 3D Battles of the World Runner that have stuck in my brain forever.
Yeah.
This one wasn't as bad. I could kind of tune it out as I was playing, but yeah, I know exactly where I am if I hear one of the songs play.
Yeah, and that's impressive because they considering how much they jammed into this cartridge, like you'd be forgiven for them. Well, they would be forgiven for not putting quite as much music in. But I feel like they really got as much out of this as they possibly could.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd say.
they look like they have 29 tracks on the soundtrack.
Yeah, see.
But some of those are sound bites, so...
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Fuck you. I don't want that in my brain. I want to flush
too
it.
late. It's too late.
I tell
It's
you
there
what.
now.
I tell you what. The other thing that I would say is the Game Boy Color cover looks stupid. The cover for the NES version and like the label that's on that cartridge looks so cool. I tell you what, this isn't my favorite game, but if I had some artwork or whatever, like you can get like those posters printed from various online retailers or sellers, Etsy or whatever. Like I'd get a Crystalis poster and put it in my game room. It looks cool.
That's a good idea.
It even has a one-eyed spider on it for you.
Oh, great. One-eyed monster. Come see the one-eyed monster.
The Japanese box looks almost like a Phantasy Star game. Like I almost can guarantee you just by the artwork that the same person who drew Phantasy Star drew this.
I'm gonna have to look
see.
that up. Just while we
Crystalis Japanese version. Oh, yeah. Holy crap.
Yeah, and the Game Boy Color version looks like they got a 3-year-old to draw.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
no, that one's dumb.
There's 4 crystals on a sword. What does that even mean?
Crystalis.
But he's fighting the vampire. He doesn't have the Crystalis at that point.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll take it up with SNK, Brian, or whoever the fuck.
But it wasn't SNK who did the Game Boy port.
SNK licensed it out to Nintendo to do the Game Boy port, so I think it was just
But Software Technology did the develop the Game Boy port.
they
That's
suck.
they fucked up.
They suck. All right. Anyone got anything else that they want to sound off about?
I got nothing else.
No, just ready to wrap this up
Alright.
in a nice, neat little bow.
Well, since you sound so enthusiastic, Brian, why don't you go first?
Well, that sounds great. So we can save Sam the time to justify that 8 he's going to give it.
Yeah, Sam can go last.
yeah.
All right, so I started playing this game before I brought it to you guys because I just kind of wanted to check it out, and I'm not going to say I instantly fell in love with it, but I found it very easy to pick up and play. There's obviously not a lot to do with the controls. You have the A, the B button. There is some annoyances with that. I mean, if you have an item equipped and magic, you can't use the item because they're both locked to the A button.
Oh,
so you have to
forgot
unequip
about
the
that.
item, and or so you have to unequip the magic to use the item because the magic will take precedence. But yeah, little things like that were just quirks for the era there. So taking a look at this through the 1990 lens, we're looking at 10-year-old Brian here, and this had enough charm to it to overcome those things that really annoyed me about it. Yeah, the enemies were killing me, but you really did respawn really fast, and you kind of like it almost auto saved where you were without like permanently saving. So when you died, you'd go back to the beginning of the field, and you would start where you walked into that field with that stuff. So it did actually not screw you over. So if you didn't had a long session where you forgot to save and you died, it would just take you back to the beginning of the dungeon. So I appreciate things like that. Graphically, the game is very pretty. I mean, everything looks like it's supposed to. 8-bit sprites are wildly under detail, but they still managed to make them look really great. And like you said, Alan, the music was great. Doesn't stick in your brain. Definitely fun soundtrack. Does what it's supposed to do. It motivates you and you know, pushes you forward into the game. Some of the puzzles, some of the things you had to find were kind of honky tonk bullshit, but using a player's guide, this game managed to keep that momentum going. And as I progressed through the game, I was still having lots of fun by the end. And then the nice little touch with some of the items, like we mentioned, the Warrior's Ring that gives you the machine gun Thunder Sword, which will be my Discord name soon. But it was enough to kind of reward you for all that kind of crap it put you through. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give this game a 7 out of 10 because it was a really good game, but just not one of those ones that is better than The Legend of Zelda and other games of its type. I think it falls short on some of the hit issues with the enemies where, you know, you're swinging your sword or you're poking your sword, and you're still missing. And hot swapping swords would be a nice thing, like if you hit select and swap through them as opposed to, you know, having to go into the menu every time, because the start button just brought up a status screen, which is an absolutely useless use of the start button. Yeah. Other than that, yeah, 7 out of 10. That is my score. I have to lean over. I dropped my pen cap.
That's actually a very, very good, very, very good sum up, Brian. And I agree with almost everything that you said. So that's enough for me. No, having never heard of this game, I had no idea what to expect going in. And as soon as I fired it up and got that nice little story-based intro, I was like, okay, well, listen, they've obviously gone through a lot of effort to create a world, to make a story. You know, as simple and as basic as it is, I do appreciate that it's there, and it gives me a good incentive to explore this world. And when I started doing so, I was like, okay, now this is speaking to my diehard Legend of Zelda loving heart. You know, I was instantly sort of familiar with this kind of game, and very, very excited to see where it took me. And, you know, it is flawed. You know, some of it, most of it, I would argue, is a product of the time. It's a game that's incredibly ambitious despite the limitations of the hardware that it's on. And as I've said, I think it does an incredible job just packing so many ideas and so many variables and so many different options into an NES game. I kind of, you know what, I'd love to see this game remade as a sort of modern day retro sort of 16-bit remake. Especially with the control interfaces that we have now, I think this could be something quite spectacular. It looks, for the NES, absolutely incredible. I think it controls really well, despite some frustrations with how the combat works, but I found myself getting used to it. It was tough, but I'm not going to say tough but fair, because there was a certain amount of bullshit to this game, as we've discussed, but it wasn't NES hard by any stretch. You know, good music, just all round fun. I really enjoyed it. I'm really happy that I got to play this game.
too many little gripes for me to go for Sam's coveted 8. I think I'm gonna go for a 7.5. Really enjoyed this one. Would play it again at some point.
Just don't do me.
Ooh.
Of course, of course. Okay, Sam. Let's have it.
9.5
You
out of 10.
bastard! You fucking bastard!
No, let me walk back a little bit. I think this is a fair Zelda like. If you like Zelda and you're craving more of that type of action, this definitely has it. I found myself enjoying the game quite a bit for the first, I want to say, half or so, and definitely play it with a guide, which, I mean, unfortunately, for some of these old games, you do have to, because I don't know who or why we decided that we weren't going to explain a goddamn thing in a game where there's clearly like NPCs that could say words and kind of give hints. This is one of those games where they give you very little. And I never enjoy a game, no matter what or what era it's from, where you can get to the end and be kind of locked out. And that's possible in this game, because you could get to the point where you have to fire those 3 bows that you have, and you could have none of them. Well, I don't want to say none of them, but you could be missing at least one of them, and if you don't have all 3, you're not progressing to the end. That's frustrating, and that's I think that's poor game design. Yeah, for as linear as this game is, the fact that it lets you go through without getting all the items that you need, that I'm gonna take points off for that for sure. Although I don't want to be completely negative. Like I said, I did enjoy the game to start with, but sort of diminishing returns as I went along with some of the cryptic BS that was going on. And not even cryptic, because cryptic implies that there's a hint. It's just confusing. This is just non-existent. So, Zelda gets talked about. This game doesn't, and I think there's a reason for that. Zelda endures because it's a game that you can, figure out on your own and kind of tackle in any kind of direction that you want, I guess. This one is very linear and has some weird stuff that you have to find that's very difficult to find. You would never think to do. I don't know. I feel like I'm just kind of ragging on it, even though it was a good game. If you've played this game and you had this game as a kid, I could see definitely having strong nostalgic ties to it. So I'm not saying it's a bad game at all. I think I'm going to land on like a 6. It just, I don't know. I wouldn't play it again. I'm glad I'm glad we played it, and I would like to play more games like this that are kind of in that obscure category. But man, I can't get on board with playing this one again. It's a 6 for me, and that's with playing it with a guide. Like if there were no guides available and I got stuck somewhere, I'd just be like, fuck it, throw this in the trash heap. But it is what it is. It's a fun game.
Sam has landed where I thought he might, and order is restored in the world.
Yeah, I didn't talk myself out of my mediocre score for this one.
No, but that's a reasonable take. It's I think this game is served incredibly well by being available on the Nintendo Switch Online.
Perfect way to play it.
Perfect. I mean, if anything we have said about this has sort of piqued your interest, know what you're getting into. But it's definitely worth having a go, I think. If you're certain...
Yeah, if you have a Nintendo Switch Online, there's no reason not to get on it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Don't
not try it. It's just, I just didn't enjoy some of the aspects of the game at times. I just,
It had some I'll give you that.
Yeah, it sure did.
Okay. That's gonna just about wrap it up then. I'll tell you what doesn't have any it's our socials and Linktree and all of that. And since I'm already halfway there, I guess I'll fucking do it.
You can find. You can listen to Retrotopia literally wherever you get your podcasts. You're already doing that, so you know what you're doing there. Come and check out our Linktree, linktr.ee/Retrotopia, where you can find all of our social medias. You can find all of the wonderful, wonderful designs that Brian has put up on. Now, Brian, is it it's Dashery and it's TeePublic? Are those both?
Well, they're the same store, but the Dashery store is easier to get to, and it's more focused on us. So it's retrotopia.dashery.com, and that'll bring you right to our store, where you can get the shirts, stickers, magnets, pillows with Alan's face, which will be a special order. And then so much more items like hats and stuff. It's actually a really good store, and everybody who's bought something has said the quality of the T-shirts is fantastic.
And
They are.
that's it. And the quality and the quality of the designs is even better.
Hoorah.
Wonderful work. You can also find our Patreon, which you can join for free, get in on the conversation, and you can join our Discord as well. Come tell us what you think of the show. Obviously, review it wherever you find the show. Let us know how well we did, 5 stars, and all of that good stuff. What have we got coming up, guys? Help me out here.
Well, we have The Force Unleashed coming up next week. We've already started playing that. Alan, you've already finished it because you're a goddamn monster. Then we have a guest episode. We had Super Dave from the Anime Field Guide join me to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles, and that comment section's already live in Patreon because I will be going on vacation that week and won't have time to edit a show. So I'm using that one to fill the void. And then after that, we have a special spooky game from the beginning of the PlayStation spooky games, Resident Evil.
Oh God,
and after that, we
so
have
long.
no idea. Yeah, you join the Patreon now. You can listen to Retro Bites, where we have a segment where we're going to discuss upcoming games.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we've got. We're definitely righting some wrongs here by covering a Star Wars game and covering a Resident Evil, which we haven't gotten to either of those franchises yet.
yeah. And for the record, I have been shouting the Resident Evil thing pretty much since I joined the show. So very excited for that one.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time.
All in due time. Remember, this game was suggested by one of our Discord members when the podcast started, and we're at it before 100 episodes. So
we got there.
go us.
We're doing all right. We're
starting to clean up those suggestions from early on. We got a few more.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, it'll
But
take a while.
We don't forget. We're gonna hit them all.
We never forget. We've got plenty to play and all the time in the world to play it. Oh, if only that were true. Guys, Brian, thanks as always. Sam,
Yay.
always a pleasure, my friend. This has been
Thank
fun.
you.
Let's do some more obscure games that I've never heard of in the future.
So anything for, any system, because nothing was ever released in Europe.
Literally anything from the 80s or 90s. We only just now got video games. I like them. I'm a fan. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
They're great.
They're great. I love video games. Good times. We should talk about them sometime. And you guys should listen. So that's it from us. And, come join us next week on Retrotopia. Nintendo Power will guide you to the show. And I promise you, we will not poison you.